Well, I think if you don't give yourself the best opportunity to get the best well-rounded education, you're depriving yourself. And I think going back to that feeling part, I think it's you can feel yourself hitting hard when you're doing your self-defense techniques, and then you could experience being hit when you're doing your self-defense techniques. I don't think it's the same hit you would receive if you were sparring and you made a mistake. So I think the sparring gives you a little bit more realistic idea of the sense of urgency for your defense. I think all three parts, hopefully, they're not separate roads. They're all one road that lead to your Kenpo and aid you in your proficiency. But I think if you deprive yourself of one of the aspects, then you're doing yourself and your students a disservice. You got to start with the basic techniques. That's why we never did the B1A, and people go in there uh, with having to have memorized techniques, and I think it stifles creativity and freedom. And they're thinking their instructor's yelling at them, B1A, B1A, and he's thinking, I just got to survive this. So I think you could get overly complicated. Paul, you and I talked about a real simple formula that we start early with our students, and that's basics, conditioning, and unity. The will to win is great, but the will to prepare to win is even more important. So if you really want to win, and I'm talking self-defense as well as tournaments, you have to get yourself in the best shape you possibly can so your body's more responsive. Fatigue won't make a coward of you, which it does to all of us. I mean, if we type, we could have the nicest car in the free world, but if it has no gas, it's not going anywhere. So conditioning is critical. And what I like, because everybody's different, and some people come in, and we've got guys at our studios that were great football players. And we have other people that come in that don't have an athletic background. So we have to teach everybody differently and build confidence gradually so that they can become empowered and become greater than they ever thought they were capable of, just when you help them build their confidence. But if you get somebody who's shy anyway, and you have him come in and he gets blasted with a defensive sidekick and the wind knocked out of him, now he's not just a beginning student, he's a gun-shy student who doesn't like this anymore. He didn't sign up for this. So it's my job a lot of times to protect the students from themselves, even though they might want to be super aggressive. If they get stuck, I know that they're going to be having to dig themselves out of a hole. You want to talk to them about becoming a hard target, not a soft target, keeping your hands up. But I really want them to think of two different scenarios. One scenario, you're being threatened. It looks like it's really going to start happening. You're in that fight or flight mindset. One scenario, you're going, gosh, I wish I would have trained harder. Gosh, I wish I would have been more coachable. I would have done what the instructors told me to do. Other mindset, gosh, I was hoping this would never take place, but I thought it was going to, and I'm ready. And if you put that extra time in on your training, then chances are your confidence will be evident in while your opponent's trying to interview you. And the more confidence that you show, you're going to interview better. We know that most cowards aren't looking for fights, they're looking for victims. And the more that you show and you're assertive in your convictions and you're empowered, you feel good about yourself, and you're ready, then maybe it'll become evident to him and he'll look for somebody that's more vulnerable. And I think we just want to emphasize to them, especially in today's world, we want them to hit to the very best of their ability and be vicious. You have to be willing, a mindset to go to any length to be able to defend yourself. And the more handcuffs you put on yourself, the more restraint you have to show physically, the more they're fighting from a deficit. So we really work a lot with mindset. And I'll tell you, there are some people at our school, male and female, that could surprise the heck out of you.
Mm.
They hit so hard. And that is so empowering when you know that you're ready. And mindset is, fortunately, we've had a lot of champions at our school. And the things that's very consistent with them is that they believed in themselves. Any technique, and think about what aspects of that technique could you use in a sparring match? You know, simple move, orange belt technique, thrusting salute. It's a kick to the groin followed with a palm strike to the face. When I was fighting in black belt division against some of the top fighters in the world, I would throw a kick to the groin and punch them to the face. I mean, it's the same concept. You just have to have the clarity. And what happens so many times is the more you train, the more you get a new pair of glasses and you see things differently. Techniques you used to dismiss as impractical, you really start to embrace, and you realize the message that Mr. Parker was trying to give us was there all along. I've had articles written about us in Black Belt magazine, and at the time thinking that, yeah, I created this technique, and then only to discover the whole concept was there earlier in some of our self-defense techniques. So I think we just keep looking, we keep searching, and we realize that it's what's important is what we don't know. Well, for one thing, if you look at the two-man attacks that Mr. Parker had, there's a lot of kicks, and we really work on that. It's like a football player's straight arm. So we do that. You know, we've got the bags coming in and people charge and get repelled with a good kick. When done properly, the side thrust kick is not just a basic, it's an essential. I mean, you need that kick in mass attacks or when there's more than one person coming at you, because it buys you time. And time is what you need when you're fighting more than one person. I also agree that in a self-defense situation that you need to keep them low, but I would much rather have the ability to put my foot wherever I wanted rather than just assuming I'm going to stay low anyway. So why stretch or why be flexible? So we encourage as high as you could kick and maintain the integrity of your technique. And I have always felt that way. I used to love to kick high, a lot in tournaments because it was like showing off, being able to kick somebody to the head. But in a practical self-defense situation, I would keep them lower and try to chop somebody's legs out or try to go to the groin. But not to be limited because I don't have the ability to kick high. I want to have that ability and then have the ability to make a choice where I want the foot to go.